Hey y'all, welcome to, or welcome back to another Secrets TBR pick vlog. In today's video, we are going to be revealing, reading, and reviewing our April Secret TBR picks. And the theme for this month that we chose was our highest and lowest ranked Goodreads TBR. All right, so I'm a little nervous for this one, to be honest with you. This is a video that Jen's been wanting to do, so we figured we would just throw it in this month as our secret pick. And I'm excited and nervous at the same time. I don't know what I'm gonna get, and I'm really nervous for the highest ranked because there's lots of high expectations, of course. And I'm really nervous for the lowest ranked because like there's a lot of potential that I'm not gonna like the book since like so many other people didn't like it. I don't know, we'll see. I try and actually don't look at Goodreads a whole lot as far as trying to decide if I do or don't like a book or if I would or would not want to read the book. I rely more on other people, word of mouth, YouTube, of course, and recommendations. And then I'll go to Goodreads and I'll add it just so I track all the books I want to read. But I don't really go to Goodreads and hunt for books, read reviews, read synopsises, and all that stuff. I kind of like going into my books blind and with an open mind. So I am going to take you to my office and I'm going to try to share my computer screen of me ranking my books and then picking the highest and lowest ranked as far as ratings go on Goodreads. All right, so first I want to set a few parameters around this. I want to pick a book that I can easily obtain, so it's got to be a book that's already released, that I can find like my library at a bookstore, something like that. And I also want the book to have at least like 500 reviews, or not reviews, but rankings, at least 500 rankings, because I want it to be a fair sample size. I don't want it to be like there's 20 rankings and it's like 10 of the author's best friends and they just ranked it 5 stars because they like the author or know the author, or people that will like preemptively rank books because they just know that, you know, it's an author they follow or something. I don't want anything like that. So I'm gonna try to find a book with at least 500 rankings, and that's already out, okay? And then that's gonna be the parameters I set. The only other thing I can think of is like maybe if it's in a series, like if it's a book that's the middle of a series that I haven't started or haven't gotten to, I'm not gonna pick that book because obviously like I need to read the series and catch up with it first. So that being said, I am anxious to go see what Goodreads has in store for me.
It is our secret book vlog, and this time I'm super excited for because it's one I've been wanting to do, and it is our Goodreads sorted by best rated, highest rated, want to read book after you take off all the books that people are just rating high because they love the author. And it is an author I haven't read yet. The book came out in 2015. I've been told so many times to read this book, and for whatever reason, I mean, I kind of know the reason why I haven't read it yet is because I just have it stuck in my head that historical fiction isn't really interesting to me. So I think for some reason, I just have it stuck in my head. Have the pouch here for the big reveal. And it is a thick one too. It is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. It is a very popular book. It has, I gotta check how many ratings it has on Goodreads. We will be reading some of the 1-star reviews and some of the 5-star reviews, and I will let you guys know how many reviews it's had. I think it's been a lot. I wanna say it's like over 20,000. So I'm doing my highest rated first. We're also gonna be doing our lowest rated, and I'm gonna do that one after this one. So I have a feeling though I'm actually gonna really like the lowest rated, but who knows? I may end up not liking the highest rated and really liking the lowest rated. That's the fun of this vlog, is to see how we feel compared to how so many others feel. So let's get into reading this. So I was curious just to see how many ratings it has, and it's literally over 1 million ratings on Goodreads, and it's a 4.62, so over 1 million. I didn't realize it was that many. I feel like I need to double check because that seems crazy. So it was over 1 million. So yeah, that's a lot of people that have read this book. So I'm gonna actually start now.
All right, so I am in my office and hopefully you can see my computer screen, my first time doing this, but we are going to see, so I have my Goodreads pulled up for you guys. This is my want to read section. I currently have 473 books that I want to read, and I am ranking the average rating. So first we'll pick my highest rated book, which like is really exciting. So let's see. I know American Rapture hasn't come out yet, and that is by CJ Lead, who I really liked. Mayfly, so I'm anticipating her book coming out, but it is not out yet. The Shadow Within, I have heard this book is really good. It's just, let's see, let's check it out here. 4.83. There's only 6 ratings though, so I really can't do this one because there's really not enough ratings. It is highly rated and I have heard of it, but moving on. The Olympus Project by Zoe Routh. It's ranked 4.84 stars, but it only has 182 ratings, so I'm gonna move on from this one. I have actually heard this is a really good book, and I'm trying to get into more sci-fi, but let's move on to the next option. Club Lithium by C.R. Allen. 4.73, only 30 ratings, so we're gonna skip that one. In the Lonely Hours by Shannon Morgan. This is not coming out till July. Chaos Calling by E.M. Williams, 4.7, only 44 ratings though. Let's keep going. Heaven Breaker, I know that one's not out yet. House of Bone and Rain, Gabino Iglesias. Let's see what that one says. 4.65, only 43 ratings, and it's not coming out until August. The Way of Kings, Starlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Okay, y'all. Brandon Sanderson actually has a recommended reading order on his YouTube channel that he himself has put out. And when you're getting into his books, I want to read them in the order that he recommends we read them in. And he recommends you start with Mistborn. And I've already purchased Mistborn. So that is the first book I want to read of his books. Even though this is the first book in the Stormlight Archive, I just know that that's not the recommended reading order for this world that he's created. So I'm not going to do this one because I want to read Mistborn first when I'm getting into the Brandon Sanderson books. Manacled is a Harry Potter retelling. I've heard it's really good, but it's only available online. So I'm going to skip that one. You can't like purchase a printed book or just go to a bookstore and buy it or even get it printed as far as I know. Let's look at The Will of the Many by James Islington. I have a feeling that this is going to be the pick. Okay, 4.64 and 26,000 ratings. Wow, that is huge. This is a huge book though. 630 pages. Oh, 630 pages. This is going to be kind of tough, guys. That's a long book. Oh, but I mean, it is my highest ranked. It is the beginning of a series. I haven't read it, and it definitely has more than 500 ratings. So I guess that's what's going to be. The Will of the Many. Okay, so here are my lowest ranked want to read list. The Curator is the first one with the 2.98 by Owen King. It is 480 pages. Oh my gosh. It does have 1,900 ratings, so it's more than 500, but another chunker. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can do another long book because I have a time constraint here. All right, let's look at the finalist. Let's see what the finalist says by David Bell, 3.05. It has 1,200 ratings. It's 400 pages, so it is a fewer pages. Oh gosh, you guys, I don't know what to do. The longer book, I'm not sure. David Bell, he is an author I've read in the past, and I feel like his writing is fairly easy to read. This is a thriller book, and I feel like this is the better pick just because of the time constraints. If my first book wasn't so long, I probably would have read The Curator by Owen King, but because technically that book qualifies and is lower ranked, but I'm just thinking that with this book, I'll be able to get my hands on it because it's going to be available. I've read this author before, so I'm familiar with his writing, and I should be able to get through it quickly. So we're going to do this. We're just going to do The Finalist by David Bell and as my lowest ranked pick, and we will see. We'll see what happens. I'm a little nervous.
I'm 50 pages in, and I never really thought about why this book was called Nightingale. I just figured there was something in the story. On page 50, it mentions Nightingale. The two main characters, the two sisters that you're seeing the story from, Isabel and Vianne, their surname is Rossignol. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. Isabel meets Gaëtan in the woods. He hears her last name and says, "Ah, a nightingale." And she shrugged because she says her surname means nightingale. And Maman called Vianne and Isabel her nightingales as she kissed them goodnight. So it's definitely a sentimental reason. And I see so far why that it's called Nightingale, unless there's more to it after deeper into the story. I'm off today, and sorry, I just woke up not too long ago. My voice is really raspy. So it is really raining outside today, but I have a lot of errands. But the first thing that I was gonna do is, there's something I read in the book last night, Nightingale. And obviously it's taking place during World War II, so there was a lot of items that they had to ration and they didn't get to have a lot. And the way she described having coffee again for the first time made me really want it. So I read that before bed last night. I was like, I really want coffee when I wake up. I don't have coffee that often. I am not one of those people that needs it every day. It's like a treat more for me, but I'm definitely gonna get some coffee. And two of my errands, I'm gonna take you with me. I'm going to the library because I need my lowest rated Goodreads book. And I'm also going to this bookstore. It's in an antique village, but they also have like new books. And I haven't been there in a while. And something made me think of it last night, and I looked it up to see what their hours were today. And that's the plan for today. So come along with me. What's funny is in the book, she talked about, it was like just general black coffee. And I know that was a different time, it was wartime, but it just feels funny, you know, years later, what people are drinking are much fancier. A couple things about Nightingale, and it's been a while since I've wanted to read this. A lot of people have told me to read this book, have highly recommended both Nightingale and Kristen Hanna, and I really see why. She is compulsively readable. The characters, you're invested, and especially very strong women characters. And Isabel, she's the more rebellious, impetuous, and just very spirited, because she's constantly told that she shouldn't be saying what she's saying and she should keep her mouth shut and just pretty much just be an obedient woman, I guess is the only way to put it. I feel like women are always told to be quiet, not to give your opinion, and if you are showing any kind of leadership skills, it's more that you're being bossy. Hasn't been anything major per se happening since the beginning of the book. I reread the very first chapter because I realized I was assuming who was speaking at the very beginning from the 1990s. The first person that you read about is Vienne after that very initial chapter. I assumed it was Vienne who was the first I-person narrator. But as I've been reading, especially some of the things with Isabel, I'm thinking, wait a minute. It could be Isabel, who is in the 90s reflecting back on her life. So I don't know if that was intended to be a plot twist, or because I reread that first chapter and it doesn't say who it is, and I don't feel like it's very clear. The only thing that you get in the first chapter is the narrator is looking through a trunk of memory. She goes to the bottom of the trunk and it's more of the World War II memorabilia. And there is what I thought was a fake ID. It has a name that is not either of the two women that you've been reading about. So I'm now unsure as to who that first narrator is, and I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a twist in the story or something that you find out later. No one has mentioned that, so I'm not entirely sure if I'm reading too much into it. I'm gonna finish my fancier coffee than black coffee. I'm going to take you guys over to the library to get and reveal what my second book is, because this one is going pretty fast and I want to make sure I secure my lowest rated book. When I'm at the library, I'll let you know what the rating was for that book, how many reviews it has, and I will reveal what it is. And then after that, I will take you to the antique bookstore, which I'm really hoping I find something good there. I don't know how much I'll really look at the antique portion, but I really want to look at the books there, so stay tuned. Well, that's awkward. It's not at this branch. It is at the one that's actually closer to my house. So I'm going to go back that way, but Antique Village is over that way too, so that's my next stop. Well, that was an interesting trip. As you guys saw, I got a Lisa Unger book. Got this one. I bought it. I'm pretty sure that I got this as a paperback from bookstore, like at Christmas. I gotta check, but I bought that just because I saw it and I had to. It's cool. It had the purple edges, and then it was signed. Like, it's crazy. I mean, you guys saw that, but it's signed. That is the author of the 7-Year Slip, which everyone has been saying is really good, and she has a bunch of other books. This one looks like it came out in 2018. I never even heard of this one, and it's signed, so that was a pretty good find. At the checkout, they had a little general store, and there was a Chicago blend of popcorn. My boyfriend loves that popcorn, so I grabbed that too. But that was a nice little trip. I didn't find any Frida McFadden or any of the other authors that I love. You can't beat $3 books, used books, so at least I got 2. I'm headed to the other library now. I'm headed to the other library to reveal my lowest rated book. All right, as you saw, Dawn DeLillo, The Silence. I've had it on my want to read shelf on Goodreads for almost 4 years. It was on there since 2020. I think that's when it came out. I advertised somewhere, put it on my want to read, and now I'm gonna read it, even though it's a 2.66 rating with 13,000 reviews. So who knows, maybe I'll love it. I did read his novel White Noise, and it very much was just a fiction book and kind of telling us what happens environmentally when things might go awry is the only way I can really put that book. We'll see what this one brings. And I didn't even reread what it's about. I'm just gonna go in blind. We'll see what happens. I didn't read reviews yet. That'll be after everything, but I'm still finishing The Nightingale. Speaking of, I just got past the part where there is another reason why it's called The Nightingale. And I won't say that, I'll save that. I mean, a lot of people probably have already read this book, but for those who haven't and may want to, I won't say what the other reason is for Nightingale. But so I'm gonna head back home. I have one more stop to do to pick up groceries and get some reading done, hopefully today, since I'm off. Hopefully.
Hey y'all, okay, so I went on my library's website and I looked the website over for The Finalist and The Will of the Many. The only book I could get a physical copy of right now is The Finalist, but they do not have physical copies of The Will of the Many. And I just find that weird, like no physical copies at all. I mean, this is a pretty popular book. It had tens of thousands of reviews on it. It had a very high review. James Islington is very well known for the Licanius trilogy, which I want to read. And I have one of his books back here somewhere, I think. Or maybe it's in my office / library / craft storage room. Anyways, I do have one of his books, and I do want to get to that trilogy because I've heard really good things about it, but I was really shocked that they don't actually, of the whole library chain, own physical copy of that book. So my plan is I'm going to read The Finalist first and wait to see if the digital copy becomes available, and then I'll have to read the digital copy on my tablet. Now, if the digital copy is not available, I will probably purchase the ebook. So first things first, I'm gonna get cozy. I am already in my home sweatshirt, my cozy sweatshirt. Y'all, this sweatshirt, there's nothing special about it. It's just plain gray. It's not any kind of special brand or anything. It wasn't very expensive, but it is just the most comfortable sweatshirt. It feels like it just fits me really good. It's so cozy. And when I'm at my house relaxing, I just want to be in this sweatshirt all the time. Anyways, enough of that rant and being off topic. I am going to start the final list and get cozy. Let's go. Alright guys, I just got to chapter 14 and I'm like maybe not quite a quarter of the way yet. This is a 400-page book and I'm on page about 80, so I'm almost a quarter of the way there. So far it's going well. If you don't know much about this, I'm sorry, I don't think I've like told you anything about this book. In this book, you're following 6 college students who are going to a private college. They're competing for a scholarship and a job. They get a job for a year at this company. The man that owns the company and is providing all the money for the scholarships is there. There is a college employee that is there. He used to be a professor, but now he's kind of in charge of raising money for the school, so he's there, you know, overseeing this competition. And then you have the 6 finalists. I know that there's a murder that's going to happen, but until this point in the book, you don't know who it is. And I did kind of like that aspect of it, because when I was reading and learning about these characters, I was thinking, ooh, I wonder which one of them is gonna die. And you're not sure like how they died yet or what happened at all, but up until this point you didn't know who it was going to be, and I kind of liked that part of it. So far it's just been okay. We'll see how the rest of the book goes.
I'm more than halfway through Nightingale and I paused where I am because it's just, I'm remembering why I don't really like historical fiction. And I'm not saying I don't like this. I'm not saying anything against Nightingale or anything like that. What always ends up bothering me is historical fiction is obviously based on real events. And the situations that I've just read about, they're just devastating. It's emotional. The atrocities that happen at war, it's hard to read because it isn't really fiction. This, you know, obviously these are fictional characters, but it's based on real events. And what happened during World War II, it's hard to read about. So it's hard to say that you like something or like a book when it's based on such horrific events. So right now I'm struggling because it's just depressing. Depressing to think about the evil in this world, and even though seemingly good won in World War II in terms of stopping what was happening, it's never really obliterated, and there are things that'll still happen recent in terms of people being persecuted, and it's just feels like it never ends. So it's been really hard to read, and I realize that is why I'm not really a big fan of the historical fiction. When it's something especially around wars and all the devastation that causes. So I am going to push through and continue to read, and hopefully there is a positive message through all of this. So I finished, I feel like I'm kind of glad that I finished just because it was really bringing me down, thinking of everything about World War II. I don't think historical fiction is really for me, but I do think it was a really well done book. I can see why it's as popular as it is. Very strong women characters, and it was really well done at the end as well. But I will do more thoughts as like a final video, and maybe also do the reading of the 1-star and 5-star reviews for that too. So now I'm on to my lowest rated, which is 2.66 on Goodreads and has about 13,000 reviews. And it's a very short book, so it should take me 2 days maybe. I am working this weekend, but it shouldn't take me long. And then we'll go to final thoughts on each and reading the reviews.
Hey y'all, I have an update for you guys. It is a couple of days later and I have finished The Finalist by David Bell, and this book was okay. I don't know if it is technically a thriller. It's not a psychological I mean, I guess maybe it's a psychological thriller. It's not really like a twisty-turny Frida McFadden thriller that we are used to, or that I am used to and that I enjoy. It is a mystery for sure. I enjoyed kind of suspense and lead up to wondering, you know, which one of these finalists was going to die, because you told in the description that's going to happen. You just don't know yet who it is. And it's kind of predictable. One of the twists I did not predict, but it's kind of predictable, and I was really kind of hoping for dark academia setting with these kids that are really cutthroat, but there's really none of that. They're kind of, you know, just regular college students, and they are competing for this scholarship, and they all really need it for one reason or another, but they're not like trying to hurt each other or, you know, run over anyone to get this scholarship. They're not really, this isn't like a life or death situation for them. So the stakes were not very high. And you know, I don't know. I agree with the rating. I just gave this book a 3 stars on Goodreads, because it is just an average book. It's not terribly bad. I didn't hate it. It was fairly entertaining, but it also wasn't, you know, it wasn't a great read that I would just run out and recommend to people that love thrillers. Jen had this idea to read the 5-star and 1-star reviews of our books. So I'm going to pull up my Goodreads on my tablet, and we are going to find out what we are going to find out what the 1-star ratings say and what the 5-star reviews say. Okay, so I pulled up my Goodreads, and you can see it's the finalist, and I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. I did do a 1-sentence review. If you want to follow me on Goodreads, I have tried this year to do 1-sentence reviews for every single book that I've read, because I'm not very good at writing reviews on the website. So I will link my Goodreads and Jen's Goodreads below if you want to follow us. But here we go. Let's see, ratings. Okay, so most of these ratings I'm scrolling through are either 3 or 2 stars, which I kind of agree with. Okay, wait, here is a 1-star review. It says, "Heed the bad reviews. This was terrible." I mean, that's a little dramatic. Here's another 1-star review. It says, "I love reading books by David Bell, but this one I could not get into. Took 12 chapters before the first murder took place. I found it to be too detailed about things that didn't relate to the murders. After struggling a week to try to get into this book, I just gave up. I received this book as a giveaway with a promise that I would give an honest review. Sorry, this one just didn't grab my interest and went downhill from there." I guess if she DNF'd this book, then she says she gave up and she DNF'd this book. So I always give my DNFs 1 star. So I have to agree with this one for the most part. Let's see what else. All right, here's the last 1-star review I'm going to read. Bought this for $9 at a market in Sydney. Should have left it there. Relatedly, David Bell, you owe me $9 for this psychic damage I took while trying to read this. Oh, Lord. I think that's funny. She is actually telling David Bell he owes her $9. She wants her money back for this book. I am glad I did not purchase the book. I'm glad that it was at my library and I could just borrow it, because it is not a book that I would really want to own and keep on my shelves. So, I mean, I feel bad for her if she bought the book and didn't like it. But come on. I mean, we have all paid full price for books that we have not liked. I mean, $9 is not terrible. I mean, I've definitely paid $30 or more for books that I've decided I did not like. All right, so it took a while, but I did finally find a 5-star read. And this says, or I'm sorry, I found a 5-star review, not a read. This is not a 5-star read. I found a 5-star review, and it says, "And Then There Were None meets Knives Out in David Bell's latest astonishing thriller. With Bell's customary biting wit and razor-sharp social commentary, the finalist will have you cackling 1 minute while racing through its short, propulsive chapters the next. Desperate to find whodunit." Utterly riveting with intricate plot twist, Bell has crafted the summer's most entertaining and masterful locked room mystery. I couldn't put it down. I'm going to check out her profile, because she seems like a publicist or something. Like, I feel like this review is kind of partial. There's that. That's her perspective, and it is a locked door mystery, I will say, but I wasn't really riveted, and I wasn't that impressed with this book. So, and apparently most other people weren't. Now, moving on, I reserved my copy of The Will of the Many on Libby, and I also checked Hoopla, and I have been on hold. I have not received my copy yet. I think I'm like 6th in line now. 6th in line on 22 copies, so like literally it could come in any day. But for the sake of moving this video along and getting into my highest ranked book, I am going to purchase the ebook through the Nook app on Barnes & Noble, and start reading it then. So let's go. All right, so here it is, you guys. Here is The Will of the Many, the ebook. I'm really excited to get into this. It says the ebook is 732 pages, but the hardcover was 640, so it might just be the font. I know with digital copies of books, you can adjust the font small or big, and you can adjust the margins, and you can adjust the font typing. So it's kind of up to how you have your setting, I think, how the pages work. So we'll see. Hopefully this goes by quickly and this read just sucks me in and is a great, fantastic read for me. We're gonna find out.
I finished it really quick, and there was a part I was going to record about midway through, and I decided just to keep going because I was able to finish this quickly enough that I didn't think that I needed to record while reading it. I'm still thinking about it. It's just, it feels like a free thinking book. A lot of words are just coming at you. He mentions Finnegan's Wake, which is a well-known experimental novel that a lot of people have trouble getting through because it's just really tough to read, the language alone. And I feel like that was a clue that he was doing something experimental with this. So I just really want to think about it. I didn't even give it a rating yet on Goodreads because I didn't want to be reactionary. There's things I want to say, but I'm going to save it for when I go over both of them as final thoughts. Just a very strange book. It's very strange, but I'm going to think about it more.
doing? It's Monday, so it's been a few days, and I am really busy today, running around doing some things, but I did get a lot of reading done this weekend. I am now on part 3, which is around 70% of the way through the ebook, and part 2 has been, and I'm sure part 3 will include this as well, but has been following Viz while he is at this school, and you're just learning a lot about the school. You're learning a lot about the hierarchy, how it works. You're learning a lot about will and a lot of the things it can do and how it gives people power, and I'm just having a fantastic time. It's just one of those books, like, I'm so invested in it, and every time Viz accomplishes something or completes a task he wants to do or is supposed to do, or unravels something that he's supposed to uncover, all that does is make his situation so much more complicated. So really excited about finding out what happens and getting to the end of this story. So yeah, just trucking along. Wanted to give you all a quick update, and I will get back to you soon when I have read some more. Damn it, you guys. I finished the book, and I'm gonna be filming my final thoughts, but I have to jump on here because there's something that I want to talk about, and this specifically the fantasy genre. This can happen in all genres, but it just seems like this happens a lot more in fantasy, and I love it, I hate it, I love to hate it. But when you have a character in a book that you connect with, you know, you follow them through their story, you laugh at their jokes, you feel sorry for them when they're sad or heartbroken, you feel happy for them when good things happen and they make accomplishments, and they can just be taken from you at any minute. I mean, the book can just take that character right out of the book and just rip a hole in your heart. And yeah, so that's all I gotta say about that. I will be back with some final thoughts.
It is time for final thoughts, and what I'm gonna do is tell you how I feel about them now that it's been a couple days, and also gonna read some 5-star and 1-star reviews. I've been wanting to do the 1-star reviews, especially because sometimes they're really funny. Depending on if you really like the book, I don't feel like, if I really love a book, I don't tend to read the 1-star reviews because I have a feeling I would feel defensive about that. It would be funny to do a whole video, that's a video idea, Amanda, our 5-star reads, but reading the 1-star reviews. I have a feeling that's been done, but I don't know if I could do that. I feel like I would feel sad that other people didn't enjoy it as much as I did. I don't know. The Nightingale. It's hard for me to say I enjoyed this. As you saw in the vlog, it was difficult to, even though it's fictional characters, it's difficult knowing World War II was very real. There was a lot of devastation in World War II and all wars. It's a very emotional book. And I'm not going to ruin anything, though, you know, over 1 million people, probably way more, have read that because it's not like everyone's on Goodreads. But for those of you who haven't read it and may be considering it, if you really like strong women characters and love to cry and get emotional about very real life events and how they affect people, this is the book for you. At the end, I mean, I got teary several times and just felt just depressed about a lot of what was happening, and reading about how people were persecuted, just had to struggle through so many different situations with this war. And this one takes place mostly in occupied France when it's the flashbacks. And then you do find out who that very first narrator is. They don't tell you when you read the very first, I guess I would call it chapter. It doesn't say who it is. And at first I thought I had missed it, and I had gone back and read it again, and it doesn't tell you. So you do end up finding out who that is. And that part, she's in the US, and she ends up, you find, I keep trying not to say, it is so hard for me sometimes to not give spoilers, because I'm always battling it in my head what someone would consider a spoiler. The end is very emotional. I know there are people out there that actually love that kind of book, that it moves you so much that you're crying. And I'm sure I have moods like that. I don't feel like I've had a mood like that in a while. I didn't really want to feel like that. I feel if I would have known to the extent of how emotional it was, I probably would have not read this. Because I wasn't in the mood to get that emotional. I feel like sometimes that does color how you rate a book. I have a feeling that all of Kristen Hanna's books are emotional, have strong women characters, are emotional, and will probably make you cry. I do think that it says a lot about her writing that you get that invested and emotional and feel like crying. And I'm not the only one. I did talk to someone else who has read it, and she did say that she was crying when she was reading this. So I do think that it's common. There have been books that I didn't expect to feel emotional in. I feel like this one was just almost overly emotional. It felt like it was really just out for getting people to feel emotional. But I read Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr, and I don't feel like that was his intent per se. And I did end up crying at that book. So overall, I am very glad that I got a chance to read this. I finally got a chance to read Kristen Hanna. Let's read a few 5-star and 1-star reviews for The Nightingale. Out of the million ratings that was giving, I think I keep saying reviews, and really it's the ratings that I'm quoting that being over 1 million. In terms of reviews where someone actually wrote something, that was 108,000. So of the 5 stars, it got 977,000 5 stars. And of the 1 star, it got 8,762. There's a couple of the 5-star reviews. And it's funny because this one, actually, I feel like I've said this part of the same thing for this 5-star review. I've been told by so many people that I need to read this book. It gets so much hype that I thought there was absolutely no way it would live up to it. And she capitalized no. But it did more than that. It surpassed it. I absolutely adored it. Another 5-star just simply said beautiful, period. And this one, I feel like the perfect one to say after what I just said. I'm crying with, it has the crying emoji and a broken heart emoji. I read a lot of amazing books this year, but this one broke me. This novel was everything that I wanted in historical fiction. I don't know how to express what I feel right now. This book is a must-read for everyone. I don't know if I agree it's a must-read for everyone. It is good. I'm not saying it's not good. It is good, but I feel there are people like me that they don't necessarily want to read a really emotional book. One more 5-star read, I'll move on to the 1-star reads. I'm curious to see what the 1-star reads are for this one, since everyone seems to love it. And here's a perfect one for the final 5-star read I'm going to read. With tears still running down my cheeks, I'm writing this review. I mean, that review is not just emotional, it seems very dramatic. I've started this review several times, and I don't think I'll be able to adequately put into words the power in which this novel has moved me. Truly a remarkable story that I literally beg everyone who loves historical fiction to read. I will be gushing about this novel for some time to come. And I agree, if you love getting invested in the stories that happen around historical events, this book is absolutely for you. You would, I think, for sure give it 5 stars. And it's when it's books that's not what people really want to read that end up, I think, having a different reaction to it. So let's see what 1 stars are. And it does say the 1 stars are less than 1% of the total ratings. Oof, here's one. It says World War II light, half the facts and all the romance. The perfect amount of the French resistance for the soccer moms out there who don't have time to read quality books. Soccer moms will find this one amazing. I mean, really, who has time to read boring history? I feel like, and I had a feeling that one stars are just, they're mad about something. Sometimes it's about the author. Sometimes it's about a perception of who's reading these books. And this one, that's what that category feels like, is that they feel that someone who's reading this doesn't really want to know the facts, which I don't agree with. I really don't agree with. I think people read this because they want to feel the emotion, to be honest. I don't know why I'm defending the I don't know why I'm defending the book, because obviously it wasn't like I gave it 5 stars. Well, this was an interesting one. So it's marked as 1 star, but revision in parentheses, and it says 2 stars, which I don't understand. I mean, you can literally change your star rating, so I'm not sure what that means. The more often I come across this novel, the more I want to downgrade my rating. So now I have given it the single star I truly think it deserves. So someone got even angrier about it after, and I guess changed the rating. All right, here's a funnier one. I was intending to do this because I thought they'd be funny. It's like the Twilight of World War II books, with Nazis instead of vampires, cliched writing, cliched characters, cliched themes. I did feel there was some cliche going on in this book. I would agree with that sentiment. Well, this one's funny. This book is nowhere near as good as All the Light We Cannot See, which is Anthony Doerr. And I haven't read that one mostly because I typically don't read historical fiction. And that's another one everyone has been really saying is fantastic. I would probably say I heard more about that one than this one. It just didn't come up as my best rated. But after I read Anthony Doerr's Cloud Cuckoo Land, I have been wanting to read All the Light We Cannot See. But I have a feeling I'm going to cry, so I need to wait until I am in the mood to want to cry. This one's a harsh one. I will end with this one. The logic and details in this novel completely derailed me, and I was only able to read to page 13. Consider the contradiction within this paragraph on page 6. You will be the adult now, her father had said to Vianne as they walked up to this very house for the first time. She'd been 14 years old, her eyes swollen from crying, her grief unbearable. In an instant, the house had gone from being the family's summer house to a prison of sorts. So if they walked up to this very house for the first time when she was 14, how could the house be the family's summer home? And then 3 pages later, we read that the house had been in her family for 300 years. I'm shaking my head. So moving on. I thought there'd be funnier ones for that, but I feel like people were really taking inconsistencies and things seriously.
All right, guys, I finished The Will of the Many, and I really, really like this book, as you could tell. It did get me emotional at some points. I'm not really someone that has physical reactions to books. I don't really cry during books or movies, but this book had me this sometimes because it was just so smart. I just think that the character that you're following he's so smart, and he is so underestimated all the time, and I really love his background and his character and his morals, and him just really quick thinking, he just makes really smart decisions very quickly, and it's just very entertaining. And this world that is built in this book is also very, very intriguing and entertaining to me. It is dark academia. You are spending a majority of the book on a school campus. I almost said college. It's not really a college campus, but it's a school that trains these individuals to become high-ranking leaders in one of the 3 different factions of this world. And it's very manipulative. It's very cutthroat. The students themselves aren't necessarily killers or anything. Like, they are put in very stressful situations. They are very competitive, but it's more along the lines of the overarching manipulators of this world have their hand in manipulating everything, and they will stop at nothing to get what they want. So for me, I'm gonna give this book a 5 stars on Goodreads. I would definitely compare it to a lot of the 5-star reads that I had as far as like my emotional roller coaster I went on with this book. And if you love fantasy, I highly recommend it. I know that it's a little chunky, but it's really easy to read, okay? It's one of those books you could sit and read for a long time. The pages just kind of fly by if you have time to sit and get immersed in this world. It's a fantastic book, and I would highly recommend it. And I'm actually trying to start James Islington's other series, but I have so many books to read. You guys will see in my May TBR video, but I just have a lot of arcs to get to. But I really, really want to continue reading this author at some point, and his Lycanius trilogy has also had excellent reviews and ratings, so I really can't wait to get into that trilogy. So there is going to be another book coming out. I think it's called The Strength of the Few, I think. But there's not been any like release date mentioned. There's not a cover release. It's just basically you can find the title if you look on Goodreads, I believe. I think Goodreads is where I saw it. But yeah, there is going to be a second installment come out. Don't know when. But it's going to be definitely one of my most anticipated reads coming out, because it's probably going to be great. And I really want to continue the story with this character. Now let's read the 1-star reviews, because this book has a very high rating. It's showing like a 0% as 1-star review. So I don't know. It took me a long time to find a 1-star review, but I did find one. DNF at 33%. What a mess. Such an interesting concept and world building completely ruined by the most perfect and boring protagonist ever, who's somehow the smartest, strongest, most morally correct person ever. Did I mention he's smart? Because he and everyone around him does every 3 pages. What can I say? He is a smart character, but I find this very clever, and I don't mind the fact that he is smart, because he actually in the book thinks a lot. Like, you find him reflecting a lot and putting a lot of thought into things, and I think that you'll find if you really reflect and put thought into things, then you can also figure your way out of situations too, and be careful and smart, make smart decisions. So, you know, it is in a school setting too, where all the students are competitive. It's not like he's the only smart one in the school. All the students are smart. They're all very competitive. They're all very clever. So, yeah, that's my opinions on her review, and I don't think she should have DNF'd at 33%. I think she should have kept reading, but, you know, to each their own. I know I've DNF'd books that people probably thought I should have kept reading. Jade Legacy. Okay, so the 2 books that I read for this vlog were The Finalist by David Bell and The Will of the Many by James Islington. And I agree with both the ratings of these books. I felt this one, you know, I agreed with the ratings, and I agree with the ratings on this one. I felt both these books were very well represented with Goodreads, and this was really fun. I especially enjoyed reading my highest ranked Goodreads pick, so maybe we'll do some more videos like this. If you guys liked us doing this video and reading our highest and lowest ranked Goodreads TBRs, then please put a comment below and let us know. Also, if you have any other kind of content or videos you want to see from us, please let us know in the comments below. I can't read your minds. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you like or dislike about the videos or what you want to see from us. So putting those comments below, or sending us an email if you don't want to comment publicly. You can always send us an email. Our email is linked in the description. I would greatly appreciate that. And I hope you guys have been inspired to maybe pick up one of these books. Maybe one of these books is appealing to you, and read something that brings joy to your life.
So let's move to the one that I was unable to really describe when I did the video right after I read it. And The Silence, just to remind you guys, by Dawn DeLillo. And I still don't know how I feel. I've talked about this with a couple of my friends who I thought may have read it or at least heard about it. I didn't come across anyone who has read this. And I still feel, I didn't research it because I just wanted to say my thoughts and not have anything that other people have said to cloud what I felt about it. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. It's very strange. And it's so different from his other book, White Noise. And I do think the concept of this is what drew me in, which is silence obviously is about what if all at once everything went quiet that is usually keeping us occupied, such as cell phones, TVs, everything. I think he was trying to do commentary on how everyone is always stuck looking at a phone as I record this, as I record this video. And it's not the first time anyone has done this subject, though I can't think, nothing's coming to mind right this minute of other books that have approached the subject. And I know a lot of people think that that kind of technology is going to really change the course of the future for us. And you can even go into AI technology and how things could end up. I think of like Terminator 2, where things could go awry. He doesn't really explain. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. I don't know if anyone would actually want to read this book after the 2.66 Goodreads review, and I'm saying I don't like it. But if you don't like very frustrating, nonsensical, I want to say, commentary, because when I said it was like free thinking, like free thought, it's like he sat down and just start typing and just saying words. And part of it in this book, there's a couple that's on an airplane when everything goes silent. And that couple is just very strange because when they're saying those words to each other, it like turns them on. And the way he writes that, and then like the sex part of that, just is very strange. It's very odd. I've never read anything like that. And I always want to ruminate on a book or movie like that. I know you guys have heard, if you had watched our video on Rouge by Mona Awad, and I brought up David Lynch and Mulholland Drive, there have been things like that I've come across that I end up really thinking about and almost changing my initial response to it and thinking, no, that really is good, or no, it's just really trying to make you think. But I don't think that's the case with this. I just feel like I don't feel I'm going to change my opinion on this. It was bad. I didn't like it. I want to give it a 1 star is what I want to give it. But I do think he could have done something different with that concept of what does it say about our society that we're so in tune with so much technology, and what if it all went silent, and how do we interact with each other if that were to happen? And I was disappointed and let down with how he ended up writing about it. I didn't read Finnegan's Wake. He references it in this book. I've heard about it was experimental, and it was, I think, a similar use of language where it's like nonsensical almost. And I don't think I would ever read Finnegan's Wake. It seems like it would just hurt my brain. And though this didn't really hurt my brain, it makes more sense than what that sounded like. It's still in that territory of nonsensical. Let's go ahead and read. Hopefully it has some 5 stars to read. I don't know. I have a feeling I might have to read 4 stars for this one. But let's see some reviews for this one. Almost has 13,000 ratings and 2,200 reviews. It has 693 5 stars, 1,983 1 star. I think it's telling us something. Pick a few 5-star reviews first. I found The Silence interesting for what it does as much as for what it doesn't do, but then it goes into describing the plot basically, which isn't the point of this. Concentrated refinement of the beauty and fervor of words. I guess that's the way to say nonsensical in a different fashion. At least we got a new Dawn DeLillo book in 2020. Brief as it is, was completely unputdownable. A perfect DeLillo for a crappy 2020. Would love to have seen this on a larger scale, which is kind of what I was saying. I think he could have done this in a different way. I feel like it could have been in the vein of White Noise and I would have enjoyed it more. But they still gave it 5 stars. They probably really loved Dawn DeLillo's writing. It's kind of how I felt going into this, but some people were just like, no, I still want to give them 5 stars because they want to support the author, which I understand. I'll read one more because a lot of them are just describing the plot, which isn't the point of this. So this one said, I was happy to be in the company of DeLillo again. I don't disagree with some of what's been said that he's one of my all-time favorite writers, and I'm glad for this novel. I love the way he puts sentences together. My favorite of his is White Noise, and also love the Underworld. So again, it's someone just really defending his other works. So I'm not really finding, I feel, too many real ratings that are just about this book, and other than just describing the plot. So let's see what 1 stars are. Those might actually be pretty good for this one. By pretty good, I mean funny. Okay, I found a kind of funny one. The kindest response to Dawn DeLillo's new novel, The Silence, may be suggested by its title. There's another one that was pretty blatant. Pretentious, unreadable nonsense. Told you it was nonsensical. Someone else wrote, WTF was that? I'm gonna end on this one, but I have to show you what it is. They used a GIF from Friends, so they said, I'm just gonna show you. So yeah, that pretty much, I didn't read it on audiobook, but that was how I felt in terms of, oh my God, what is all this nonsense? That episode of Friends with Pivot was one of the best, but also is the perfect sentiment for how I felt. In conclusion, I was really happy that we did this, even though I wasn't like, oh my God, these are the greatest books ever. We were going for the lowest rated, so I think that's what I got, was really something that should be low rated, and a really emotional book that was really good. It's just hard to read because it takes place during real events. So thanks for watching, and until next time.